Today I'm going to react to a video by Rike. He's talking about some things in the dating scene in the Philippines that I kind of agree with, a couple I don't agree with. And then he gets into a big claim that guys should be dating Filipinas in the United States. And I can tell you that's not a good idea. I was married to a Filipina that I actually met in California, in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's the northern part of California. And Rike is from the southern part of California, Los Angeles area. And we have different, totally different views on what's good about that regarding dating. So we're going to get into that, but let's hear what he's got to say first of all.
A lot of other channels, smaller channels, in an attempt to get more views, have been trying to push this theme or this idea that Philippines has just gone nuts. It's all decayed. It's, don't even bother coming. The women are westernized and it's hard to date and it's hard to pick up women. Okay, maybe that makes for some clicks and views, but it's just not reality. Have some things changed? Yeah, but you know what? From what I can observe, it's just the usual bad women have just gotten worse. But the good women, there's still plenty of them. Again,
Yes.
stay off the dating sites, stay away from social hubs like the boardwalk.
Yeah, I disagree with Rike on stay away from dating websites. I believe it's a digital revolution that we currently still in, that has dating websites as a tool for allowing people to meet, and we should take advantage of that. I'm not saying we should all join TikTok or Facebook or whatever, but we should definitely use dating websites as a tool to meet people, and we still have to go through the manual process of sorting and sifting through the people we meet there, because there are a lot of scammers, but you will find a few gems, and it's definitely worth your time. But it does take time. It's not an easy process, and you got to get familiar with the website. You got to get familiar with the type of person you're looking for, and so you can kind of over time kind of build out a persona in your mind that you're looking for that might be a possible match for what you're looking for. But let's listen to what he has to say.
Walk type areas. Go and just meet ordinary women in the course of your day. Like when you go to the bakery or you go to the grocery store or you go to the mall, talk to the women that work in the department stores.
Yeah, I don't agree with talking to the women in the department store. I do agree with going about your day and being friendly and sociable to people that you run across. But people that work in the mall, they are hired and work there because they are usually have a good presentation. And the problem with them is they work such long hours. They at least work 9 hours a day in the mall, with 8 hours working and 1 hour for lunch. And they usually work sometimes 6 days a week. And when they have a day off, they're so tired they just want to do some laundry and do some personal things. So it's very hard to date girls that work in a mall. Don't even think about it. I've tried doing that for years, and it really doesn't go well. They just have too much pressure and too much focus on their work.
Stores. Engage with women in daily life. And there are so many women, good women. This stuff you're hearing about, oh, Philippines is played out, it's played out. Well, stop going to Manila and Cebu and Dumaguete. Go somewhere else. I mean, go to other areas. There's good women in there, but again, city girls, you just got to sort through a bigger stack before you find a good one. Whereas
Yeah, Rike is against city girls. He's basically saying go to the province, and yeah, you'll find some wholesome good girls in the province. Yes, of course. But the problem with the province girls is they're not very city smart, or they're not very uh, comfortable with dating a foreigner that's coming from a first world country, perhaps a big city like San Francisco or Los Angeles, they're not going to be very comfortable dating such a guy. For as an example, myself, I enjoy going out for dinner with a girl that knows how to put on lipstick, knows how to do her hair in a special way for dinner, or knows how to wear a beautiful dress for dinner, whatever, just not on an everyday basis, but just something nice and sweet and cute for going out for dinner, or going out for a movie, or going out to a museum, or even going out shopping for some clothing in the mall or whatever. It doesn't. I mean, I enjoy when the girl actually puts a little effort into looking good, and puts a smile on my face when I look at her. I enjoy that. And yeah, and a province girl is very unlikely going to be able to put on lipstick and put on a cute dress. Um, she might be a wholesome lady and have integrity and a lot of good qualities, but she's not going to be a city girl. So it's up to you. It depends what you like. I like a good, wholesome city girl that has a combination of bit of province attitude and a bit of a city life. And most girls that live in the big city like Metro Manila or Makati, they come from the province. They usually are not born in Makati or in Metro Manila. They usually come from the province because the jobs are located in the big cities.
Whereas out in the provinces, you've got, women who, they've got more like down to earth values. And why? Because they handle more responsibility. They're not out playing TikTok at the local Starbucks trying to pick up foreigners at the mall. The girls out in
Yeah, that's the drawback of dating a city girl. She's gonna be familiar with TikTok, and there's gonna be a lot of simps following your girl possibly on TikTok, and perhaps trying to message her or whatever. So you got to be on your toes, and you got to be prepared for a little competition. But other than that, I love city girls. I love the way they dress up. I love the way they know how to dance and dress up a little bit. I don't mind that at all.
the girls out in the province, they're busy hauling in water and doing the dishes and cleaning up after the dogs and changing diapers on their little brother. And, they're busy, like V, that was her life before I met her. She was busy with chores every day, busy with chores. And even now, she went to go get her passport. She had to wait for a little while there in Davao. And it's not like her parents put it on her. She's not going to sit idle. She starts cleaning and cooking, and she's busy. And you can maybe find that in the city, but you definitely find it to a greater degree in the smaller towns like Bacong. It would take me literally not even an hour to find somebody, a good woman to start dating, maybe even a half hour if I was in Bacong, versus
Yeah, it sounds like Enrique has a lot of experience with dating province girls. Nothing wrong with that.
I'd need more like 6 hours to 8 hours to try and find him one in Dumaguete downtown. They're out there, but they just take a keener eye, and your odds are better in the province. To me, if I was going to look for a Filipina in the United States, in California, there's a whole lot of them, like near Pasadena and that whole area. So the first thing is put yourself in that locale, because some areas just do have, a congregation of Filipino communities. So that would be the first thing. Get yourself in that location, because it would.
Yeah, that's true. And in Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area, there's an area called Daly City, where there's a lot of Filipinos that live and work there. It's not a good area to be living in actually, because it's always foggy. Maybe that's why Filipinos congregate there, because the real estate prices are very low, and even though the area is basically nice, it's by the ocean and there's always fog rolling in there day or night. I think there's only like a handful of days where you can see the blue sky in the daytime, but that's a whole nother topic. So that's a Filipina known area in Northern California, and I met my ex-wife there, and we actually ended up getting married and having 3 kids. We were married for a total of 7 years, and it was great in the beginning, but we'll get into what happened causing the breakup. So let's see what Rike has to say here first.
It kind of suck, say in this example, to live 3 hours away from Pasadena, find a Filipino there because you went there driving around or you went on a dating site or whatever, and then now you're basically in a long distance relationship because it takes 3 hours to get through all the traffic anytime you want to go out for dinner. So that would be one thing, try to find them local to where you are. The second thing it would be, once you do find one, you found yourself a Filipina that you're attracted to and you start dating her, the question I would want answered, and there's got to be a way to just sort of bring it up in conversation. You don't want to really grill them, give them third degree, but an answer that I would want to know the answer to from her would be, so how is it you're in the United States? Were you born here? Because if they were born in the United States, they're not going to have the same qualities of a Filipina that grew up in the province of the Philippines. They're basically not a whole lot different from any other woman in.
Yeah, he's totally right. A Filipina that's born in California, she's not going to be any different than any other California-born girl, and they have the same attitude. They're not. I mean, they don't have the same attitude as a sweet Filipina, but they have the same attitude as any other American woman. And it's usually, if you know Filipinos, they are very sweet, very caring, very loving, and that's not going to be there if you date a local California girl. I grew up in Europe, so I know the difference between Europeans and American girls, and I also know the difference between Filipinos living in the Philippines and Filipinas living in California, and they're wildly different
in the United States. And I don't mean to say that she's necessarily a bad person, but I'm just saying that culturally, if she was born in the United States, she was born and raised in U.S. culture. What's another way that she might answer that question? How did you find yourself here in the United States? Well, maybe she came here because she's a student. So is she still in college? Did she finish that? Does she still have her student visa? Did she come here because she's a nurse? Is she a nurse? Is she a teacher? Does she teach at a college or something? That would explain how she is there in the United States. But probably the answer you're going to hear more than not is going to be she married a foreigner, American. He immigrated her in on a spousal visa or a K-1 visa. And then that begs the second question. So what happened to that guy? Did you guys divorce? Did he die? What's up with that? Where is he? Are you guys just separated? So if you came in to the United States from the Philippines because you married an American, where's that guy? So I would want it, those would be like my primary questions. How did she get there? And if there was a guy involved, what's the story there?
Yeah, he's totally correct. And I don't want to get into any personal details for my situation, but I can just confirm what he said is totally correct. And my ex-wife, she was sweet and wonderful, everything a man would ask for the first 2 years, and then she started changing, and by the time everything was over and we were done with our bitter divorce, the Filipino mother-in-law pulled me aside and she sort of quietly told me that she didn't recognize her own daughter after she moved to the United States. It's sad to say, but I don't. After that experience, I don't recommend to any other guys to find a Filipina in the United States because they change. And the mother-in-law, the ex-mother-in-law, and she became kind of my best friend. Strangely enough, after the divorce, she also told me that she thought her daughter, my ex-wife, changed when she started having American friends and some Filipino friends that were giving her bad advice. I don't know if that's true, but that's what she told me. I can confirm that's what the ex-mother-in-law told me, that's what she thought had happened to her daughter. So that's the long and short of it. There's a lot of drama involved, and I don't wish any guys or any human being goes through that divorce process in California where they basically treat the guy as he's always in the wrong and the woman is always in the right. And yeah, I'm not a lawyer, so I should probably not say too much, but I can basically confirm what Rike is saying, that they do. Well, he's not actually saying that, but I'm going to say that they do change when they come to the United States. I mean, ideally, you would think they would just be the same as they were brought up in the Philippines, but they change very quickly. In my case, my ex-wife changed within 2 years, and she was totally different. Not at all like when I first met her in California. I actually never went to the Philippines. I totally met my ex-wife in California without ever going to the Philippines, so I didn't even have an idea what Philippines was like. But long story short, I don't recommend dating Filipinas in the United States because they will change after a short time, perhaps 2 years. And to add to that story, my personal story, I also had another friend, American guy, also living in California, that got married to a Vietnamese woman. It's not Philippines, of course, but it's another country. And he had the same situation. The lady changed on him, and he went through hell. He went through nightmarish kind of divorce situation, and eventually completed the divorce. And he moved to Thailand, of all places, and he started his retirement in Thailand, and he was happy after that. But that's just one more example of how it's a bad idea to marry a Southeast Asian woman or date a Southeast Asian woman when you're in California, when you are in USA, because they do change. Unfortunately, it's sad to see, but the sweet girl that you were thinking is your Wonder Woman in Southeast Asia is not going to be like that in USA. Sorry, guys. So don't do it. Don't date a woman. Of course, if you're just going for a party and a little bit of fun, yeah, that's not a problem. But if you're looking for a long-term relationship, don't do it because they will change.
And to me, that would be ground zero. I couldn't build anything after that until I had the answer to those two questions. So I would start there. Now, again, as far as courting a Filipina in the U.S., it depends. Again, if she was born and raised in the U.S., it's not a whole lot different. But if she was, like let's say you're going to court a Filipina in the Philippines, well, one of the top things is meeting her parents. And when you're talking about courting a Filipina, that implies a serious relationship. You've got serious intentions. You're looking for a wife. There's a difference between courting a Filipina because she looks like wife material versus I'm just going to go on a date with a Filipina. Maybe it turns into something, maybe it doesn't. I won't know until I date her a while. But if you're talking about courting a Filipina in the U.S., once you get past those first two questions, well, then go through the usual, screens. Do you find her attractive? Do you guys
Yeah, and usually if you're dating a Filipina in California or in the US and she's there as a recent arrival or recently fresh off the boat, as they say, she will not usually be with the parents or with her family. So usually you won't have that or face that problem of meeting the parents. That's only if you're dating a girl living in the Philippines and you're visiting the Philippines or seeing her in the Philippines. That's when you'll have the problem of meeting the parents, but that's a whole nother discussion.
do you guys have like a spark and magic thing going? Do you have like a good camaraderie? Can you communicate well? Third thing being, what's her character like? And again,
Yeah, I was totally smitten with the ex-wife, the Filipina in California, when I met her. I thought she was the most wonderful woman I've ever met, of course. That's why I married her, perhaps. But yeah, in fact, she was, that reminds me, she was even telling me that, I don't know if it's true or not because I didn't see it, but she was telling me that she was once driving down the freeway 101 in San Francisco Bay Area, and she was actually pulled over. I don't know how you do that, but some guy would pull her over or wave her over, I guess, on the freeway and actually ask for her phone number. I don't know how that's possible, but she claims that that happened once with her during our dating life before we got married. So she must have been a head turner or something. She was catching some eyes for sure. She was a very beautiful, very pretty girl. Maybe that's why I was so smitten with her as well. But yeah, after a couple of years, she was no longer the sweet kitten that I met. Unfortunately, we got into a very bitter divorce, but that's a whole nother story.
again, that takes time. Consistent behavior over time is what tells you where her character's at. And you got to spend time with her to know, is she an honest person? Is she a positive person? Does she flip out when there's a problem? Does she have a temper tantrum? I mean, these are all things that take time. So I would say just if you find somebody that you think is a candidate, spend your time with them. Don't date her and other girls at the same time if you want her to take you seriously. Just date her, invest the time, and if it takes you 3 months to figure out she's a great woman, keep moving. But if in 3 months you figure out by spending time with her, there's some deal breaker involved, like she has a gambling problem or something, well, then you cut bait and you leave and you start over again.
Yeah, thank you, Rike. That gives some food for thought.